What I thought would be very useful would be to try and explain why Europe is acting so much differently than Asia to this crisis. And I think there's a chain of logic which is not obvious, but I think it's quite clear now. SARS made a difference. Asia, East Asia in particular, was very heavily hit by SARS. The government, the people understood that these things are serious and undertook preparations for the next one. Although SARS did hit worldwide, the lessons were ignored or quickly forgotten in Europe and the United States. The people, the government, even the officials and the doctors weren't really ready for another pandemic. Covid-19 is a disease which is highly infectious, but not very lethal. Now, what this means is that the recession, if it was just for the medical shock, would not be very sharp. We would have a very fast rate of infection. Not that many people would die, and therefore it would be a relatively short recession. The difference is that the spike in new cases overwhelms the hospitals for example, in Italy and Spain. Is happening right now. And that horrifies the public. And once that happens, the governments engage in very extreme lockdown policies because they haven't been doing any testing, so they don't know who has it. And as a consequence, these extreme containment policies cause an enormous recession. That enormous recession then triggers the government to develop enormous rescue packages. And those rescue packages are fiscally so large that they risk triggering further crises. So this sequence of events, which we've seen again and again in European countries and to a certain extent in the US, I think is really based on the fact that the US and Europe did not take the lessons of SARS. And I must say that I'm very worried that the US will be as bad or worse than China. This is something we're all experiencing. It's extremely rare in history. And the countries who like and believe in multilateralism, I think, have an obligation to come together and try and make sure that it works.